Hi-yo YouTube, my name is Dexter, and welcome to Dex Builds. This episode's project is focusing on Imperius, aspect of Valor, coming to Heroes of the Storm in about a week. He's a warrior from the Diablo franchise, and the long and short of his personality is he thinks he's always right, and refuses to waver on any decision that he makes. So if he says to, I don't know, let's go with the classic, let's kill all the humans, people will try and talk him out of it, and he won't listen. It causes no end of strife, from what I understand, between the angels that he has to work with, which are the Angelic Council, I believe it's pronounced. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's just spelled A-N-G-I-R-S, or I-R-S. And he's essentially their muscle, their greatest tactician, and their biggest dickhead on the crew. He, like I said, he refuses to change his stance on any decision that he makes. He makes every decision with the full conscious decision to carry it out, no matter what. So he causes a lot of strife between the different members of the Angelic Council, which include Tyrael, Oriel, and Ethereal, I think the guy's name is. Ethereal? I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's I-T-H-E-R-A-E-L. But Imperius in Heroes of the Storm is a melee warrior, which I was surprised by. I really was. I figured he was just going to be another assassin. Not that he's not going to be broken. I'm pretty sure his skill set is going to be very annoying to deal with. But if you don't want to hear me drone on and on and on about the ins and outs and the specifics and the nitty-gritty of all of his abilities, his trait, and his talents, and his ultimates, feel free to leave right now, because I'm about to get into it, starting with his talent. For those of you who want to stay, you better buckle up, Chuckle Nuts, because we're in this for the long haul. His trait is called Valorous Brand. Each basic ability marks enemy heroes hit for 10 seconds. Basic attacks consume these marks, dealing 30% bonus damage per mark consumed. It gets rid of all the marks on your next auto attack, and you can have up to 3 of them. So if you hit a hero with your Q, Celestial Charge, your W, Solarian's Fire, and your E, Molten Armor, your next basic attack against that target will deal 90% bonus damage, which is pretty important. It's a lot of extra damage, because Imperius here hurts. He does significant damage at a pretty decent melee range. He's got 126 damage, 127 damage at level 1, which I believe rivals that of Diablo? I don't know exactly, but he hurts. Long story short, he hurts. His abilities are also pretty interesting. I like them, but I'm pretty sure playing against them is going to be very annoying. Starting with his Q button, called Celestial Charge. Lunge towards a targeted direction and stab, dealing 36 damage. If an enemy hero is hit, you will then channel for 1 second to stun that target and deal 73 bonus damage when the stun ends. It's kind of weird to talk about. Basically, you lunge forward, if you hit a hero, you'll stab them, lift them into the air for 1 second, and then somehow they take bonus damage. There's no channeling, like you don't have to tell the game to channel itself, it's just if you hit a hero, you will channel. The problem with this ability that I have found is that the impalement box, like the impalement hitbox, is deceptively long and pretty janky. Essentially, the way it works is Ilarion travels up to half of the max distance that you tell him to go. Essentially, that tiny little shaft, the end of the tiny shaft, is where I will travel to. The start of the giant yellow end is where I will impale enemies with. So, it'll say I travel to this distance. I'll really only go right here. See? There, that's how far I actually travel. Half of the hitbox of this ability, or half of the targeting direction of this ability, is the tip of the spear. It's pretty potent, though, I will say that. It's on a 10-second cooldown, and it's a fairly long-range stun. The only problem is the stun doesn't last too long. But it does set you up to use your other abilities, namely Solarian's Fire. Release a fiery wave that deals 104 damage to enemies hit. Whoever's hit by the center take additional damage, up to, well, at level 1, it's 52 extra damage, and they're all slowed by 40% for 3 seconds. So, I'll throw it at this guy. He takes 104. He takes 156 because he's in the center. The guy in the center is also slow, but they're both marked because they're both hit by the ability. It's interesting. It's his only poke ability, really. And it's interesting. It also lets you apply brands from a range that is not melee range. Also, the other thing that I don't know if you noticed that or not, but my Celestial Charge, the stun hitbox is super, super janky. I guess the best way to talk about it is to just show it off. If you'll see, my spear hitbox, the two lines kind of desync if I'm moving it. The back end of the spear can stab people. I can technically hit this dude if I land behind him. I'll just show it off real quick. See, I passed through him and then stabbed my spear and he came with me. I think they might need to work on that. Admittedly, it's going to be very hard to pull that off in the middle of a fight. I get that. But if you do it, you not only move a guy from where he was supposed to be to in front of you, but it doesn't even look like I hit him. I go straight through him and then stab, and he ends up in front of me. It's super janky, and I can imagine it's going to cause no end of strife. Or no end of complaints. But his W button is pretty straightforward. It's just a skill shot. Hit people in the center, you do more damage. His E button is what I'm a big fan of. It's called Molten Armor. Shroud Imperius in flames for 3 seconds. Striking a nearby enemy for 20 damage every quarter second. So, at level 1, you do 80 damage per second for 3 seconds. You do 240 damage over 3 seconds. Additionally, anybody hit by this ability heals you for 100% of the damage dealt, doubled for heroes. So I can heal for 480 health at level 1 if I'm able to walk on top of people. My only problem with it is that it chooses targets to hit at random. It doesn't hit everybody around me. It chooses a target. It basically just goes in a circle around you. It spins to your right. Whatever direction, I keep trying to call him a Larian. Whatever direction Imperius is facing, it'll spin to his right. And I don't really appreciate that, but it does give you a lot of sustain because you're healing for all of the damage that you deal, and doubling that for hitting heroes. It's kind of like a worse Blaze trait, but you get healing baseline instead of armor baseline. But don't worry, you can fix that as the talents go on. This is my 3rd time trying this video because a lot of the things that I learned after the first one into the second video, I had a hard time wording, and then I tried it again and it didn't work. So this is my 3rd time recording this video. I'm also trying to remove the word like and quit saying from my lexicon as much as I normally do. And it's pretty interesting. But I'm going to jump up to level 10. It's an interesting challenge. I'm jumping up to level 10 to show off the ultimates. And I like them both. I would definitely take Angelic Armaments just because of its level 20 upgrade. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. His level 20 ultimates, or level 20 ultimates, his level 10 ultimates are Angelic Armaments and Wrath of the Anguirus. Angelic Armaments summons a ring of blazing swords that grants 1,481 shields at level 10. Little under half of my max health as a shield for 3 seconds. If the shield persists the entire duration, you can activate this ability within 5 seconds to launch 6 swords towards an area, dealing 207 damage per sword to the first enemy they contact. It's a really strong durability ultimate. The damage I don't think is ever actually going to come out, but it makes you that much more durable. It makes you roughly 45% more durable for the duration of the shield. I also really enjoy the last part of it because it just looks badass. Like these swords look cool, and then I can fire them, and it looks like such a cool ultimate. I really appreciate it. But essentially, it's just a worse Li Ming, what's her ability? Arcane Missiles, but it's just it's stacked on top of more durability. It's basically a warrior's version of the arcane missiles, but it's on a 60-second cooldown. It's on a 1-minute cooldown. His other ultimate, I'm just gonna call it the Chokeslam. I'll let your imagination run wild as to why up until I show it to you. Wrath of the Anguirus. After 0.75 seconds, charge in the target direction and lift the first enemy hero hit into the high heavens. While in the air, Imperius can steer the landing location by moving. After 2 seconds, slam the target into the ground, dealing 555 damage at level 10 and stunning the target for 1 second. Interesting to note, when you're charging, you are invincible. You are not invincible, you are unstoppable. So I dash forward, and then he comes with me, and I just chokeslam a bitch. It's the inverse of Johanna's Falling Sword ultimate, but instead of you going to the enemy team, you bring an enemy back to your team, but you don't have nearly as much time to reposition, and it's also only for one target. You cannot use the Chokeslam to smack an enemy with their ally. I've tried it, it does not work. So I'm going to land on this dude, nothing. Just hurts the guy that I Chokeslam. And I'm mildly disappointed in that, but at the same time, I understand why that would be very, very strong. You could just chokeslam a dude, and then bring him down with you and deal 550 damage to everybody around him. I understand why they don't want to do that, because that's a lot of damage, and you can't interact with it. But being uninteractive hasn't stopped Blizzard from introducing any other ability before, so... excuse me, I like angelic armaments because it makes you more durable and has an upgrade that benefits your entire team, but Wrath of the Anguirus is more badass looking and also allows you to remove somebody with surgical precision. Because, like I said, while you're dashing towards the target, you are unstoppable, and it's phenomenal. So, once you start the dash, no one's going to stop it, except for you if you fail, or whoever you grab. But I like angelic armaments more. So we are going to go jump myself up to level 20 real quick, and then we are going to take a look at every single talent that I would take. We're going to take a look at every single talent, and then choose which ones I would take. Let's rephrase that. Starting with level 1 talents. I want the N button. There it is. Level 1 talents are Impaling Light. Celestial Charge, baseline, deals 125% more damage. If you are able to stun multiple heroes, you get bonus effects. Well, not bonus effects. You lower the cooldown of your Celestial Charge. If you're able to stun 2 heroes with a single use, lower the cooldown by 2 seconds. If you're able to stun 3 heroes, lower it by an additional 2 seconds permanently. So it lowers your engagement and your crowd control to a 6-second cooldown and does more damage. I like the sound of it, but I'm a bigger fan of Burn the Impure more. The other choices are Consuming Flame, hitting enemy heroes with the center of Solarian's flare, increase its damage by, or increase the center damage by 10 up to 150. If you are able to hit 15 heroes with the center of the flare, increase Solarian's fire's slow by an additional 15%. So if you're able to hit people with the center of the flare, that is 65% slow for 3 seconds, on top of 150 bonus damage, which is hardly anything to sneeze at. It does a lot of damage. It's a fairly quick projectile. That's not a projectile. It's fairly quick. It just hurts. It does damage. But my personal favorite is Burn the Impure. Consuming a Solarian's fire mark deals bonus damage equal to 3% of the hero's maximum health. You get Giant Killer at level 1 on your W button. Why? Why not? That's pretty much what I imagine the design team said. Because, keep in mind, most heroes that get Giant Killer only get it at level 16. And they have to choose it. It's not, or I mean, you have to choose this one too. But there's also other more viable, or there's also other just as viable options at level 16. But 3% of the target's max health every 8 seconds when you can auto. You just hit him with the Q, you auto attack him. Or not the Q, you hit him with a W, you auto attack him. Your Q allows you to get away with it easier. You hit him with that, you jump forward, and then you stab him. And then that's a bunch more damage on top of the fact that you just dealt 60% bonus damage because you hit him with 2 abilities back to back. Also, while you have people impaled, you can activate Molten Armor. I didn't mention that, but that's a thing that you can do. It's the only thing you can do while you've impaled somebody. So you impale them, and then you light them on fire. Wow. And then you throw that out, and you burn them some more. I really like Burn the Impure. It's my favorite talent at the tier, just because it's consistent damage against people that have a lot of health. Which, admittedly, you probably shouldn't be worrying about, but that was... I want to toggle cooldowns real quick. I want to see just how much damage I can deal in a single hit. So I'll just burn this guy with this real quick. Hit him with this, and then this. That was around 900 damage at level 20 in 4 hits, basically, but they were all super quick. 900 damage, level 20. Hell, I'll just do that. Wham! 900 health in 1 auto attack and 1 ability. Mind you, I had to hit him with the center of the ability, but still. So we're going to throw that out, we're going to throw you, we're going to hit that, and then we're going to stab him. That was like... I have no idea. I don't know how much damage that does in 1 hit, but it's a lot! And I fail to see how that's a bad thing. But if you don't want to engage on people, then you don't have to take Impaling Light. If you are really content at just poking people and then impaling them, Consuming Flame is bad, or not a bad choice, but I much prefer Burn the Impure. At level 4, we've got Bulwark of Flames. Hitting a hero with Solarian's Fire grants 60 physical armor against the next 2 enemy hero basic attacks and stores up 4 charges. So you hit 2 people with Solarian's Fire, and you gain 4 stacks of attack block, 4 stacks of physical block, which is pretty decent. Unless you're up against a lot of people who attack very quickly, like Tracer or Tychus or Raynor. Not Raynor so much, but people that attack really quickly, that kind of doesn't work for you. Whoops, I don't want a Hearthstone. I meant to hit the space bar. Unshakable Faith is also a decent choice. Activating Molten Armor removes roots and slows. If a disabling effect is removed, heal for 550 health at level 20. 10% of your max health. A little over 10%. A little over 10% of your max health at level 20, which is hardly a bad thing. Or Battle Hunger. Heal for 180 health for every Valorous brand mark consumed. So, these 2 heal for the same amount, but this one also keeps healing you if you keep using your abilities, whereas this one only works if you remove crowd control that it says that you can remove. Which, I like the consistency of Battle Hunger. Battle Hunger, I fail to see how it could possibly be bad. So I'm going to keep with Battle Hunger. These talents are all AoE, but different kinds of AoE. Flash of Anger. Hitting a hero marked by Solarian's Fire with Celestial Charge deals 351 damage around the target. So if you're able to mark people with your fire, you can dash at them, and they'll explode. Each person exploding can hurt another person exploding, so if you stab 2 people that have been hit by your flare, you can deal 700 damage to both of them, on top of the damage that you'd be dealing with the charge, which is around 900 damage. In total, because that's, 900 damage to each of them, not just in total. It's 900 damage to each of them, because that's 220. This is an additional 350 to each of them, twice, or 350 damage twice to both of them. So 700 and 200, 900. Blaze of Glory, however, is the one that I much prefer. Solarian's Fire leaves a line of scorched earth along the center path, exploding after 2 seconds and dealing 274 damage at level 20. Keep in mind, level 20. I'm pretty sure it's less damage than Flash of Anger, but it's kind of easier to pull off. Because that does 329 damage on top of 274. So just under 500 damage. But then you can also stab people for Burn the Impure and get bonus damage out of it. I just like it. I like the explosion. Oh, I didn't even take it. I like Blaze of Glory. I'm pretty sure it might be the worst talent now that I think about it. But I guess you'd impale them anyway, so it's I'll just show you what it looks like. I'm pretty sure the combo is throw it out and then impale people. And then you put them down and then they explode. And then you can stab them for a lot of damage. We'll go that one more time and actually use the Molten Armor. Yeah, that's a decent amount of damage. And we're going to poke that dude, and we're going to hit this guy. Just to eat all the marks. So yeah, that's a decent amount of damage. Decent amount of AoE damage. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. I like the Blaze of Glory. Level 10, I would take Angelic Armaments, just because it's a 60-second cooldown for a shield that's basically 45% of your max health. I fail to say that's a problem. At this level, I really like Divine Rage, but I'll read them all off. Pathetic Mortals. Stunning enemy heroes with Celestial Charge reduces their damage dealt by 35% for 4 seconds. So if you're up against a target that is lacking in mobility, but high on damage, such as, let's say, a Kael'thas, or a Zul'jin, or a Jaina, or a Chromie, someone who can't really get away from you, but does a lot of damage, you can charge them, if you can get to them, and stun them, and then lower the damage output for 4 seconds. Which is never a bad thing. That is one of the things that tanks are good for, mitigating damage in pretty much any form. Either by eating it themselves, or lowering the damage that enemies deal. Or Divine Rage. Striking an enemy hero with Molten Armor reduces its cooldown by 0.25 seconds. So, keep in mind, this hits every 0.25 seconds. On top of, it burns for 3 seconds. So once you hit the button, it's burning its cooldown down. Or its cooldown triggers. Let me rephrase that. As soon as you hit Molten Armor, the cooldown triggers. And it burns for 3 seconds. So that's 9 seconds in between when you activate it to when you can activate it a second time. If you take Divine Rage, you can lower that time, as long as you're consistently hitting heroes with it, to 6 seconds, which isn't that hard. Admittedly, you just activate it and you walk near them. And if they try to get away from you, you dash at them. So that's on a 6-second cooldown, on top of healing you for all the damage that it does, doubled for heroes. I fail to see how healing for level 20, healing for, okay, so it doesn't really gain all that much damage, actually. Now that I'm looking at it, it was at 40 at level 1, right? Let's find out. Set level. Choose a talent. 20 damage. So, up this to level 20. So, 40 times 4 is 160 per second. Doubled for heroes. 320 health. 320 health per hero, or per second for 3 seconds. So 1080 health for just walking next to somebody on a 6-second cooldown. I fail to see how this is a problem. I fail to see how that could possibly be bad. But we're going to go back to take the Impure, Battle Hunger, Blade. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about Holy Fervor. Activate to cause the next 4 basic attacks to cleave for 345 damage. Your auto attacks aren't that fast, but they do hurt. They also have decent range, about the same range as Diablo or Kerrigan. But melee auto attackers, that doesn't really matter that much. But your auto attacks would splash. I guess I should show that off, shouldn't I? Oh, he just sweeps it. Okay, so it's just Zul's Curse Strikes on. Instead of it being on a cooldown, it lasts for a certain amount of time. It doesn't sound all that useful, but I do. It's interesting, but I much prefer the Blaze of Glory. The last talent at level 13 is Heat of Battle. Molten Armor heals for 25% more health, while Imperius is below half health. I'd much rather have more consistent healing rather than more potent healing. So I'd take Divine Rage. Level 16 are all more aggressive talents. Stunning an enemy hero with Celestial Charge with Celestial Swiftness grants 50% increased attack speed and 20% movement speed for 5 seconds. So if you have a target that you want to impale and you want to kill, you can stab them, and then once you stab them, you'll have an increased attack speed. I believe it gets up to 1.25, which is the same attack speed as Phoenix's Repeater Cannon. And you will be able to keep pace with them because you will be going just slightly slower than mount speed. So I'll just show it off real quick. You stab them, and then you keep going with them, and you keep stabbing them if they try to run away from you. Admittedly, you don't get to go that far. You won't be getting that many attacks out, so let's say they run off in this direction. You stab them once, you stab them again, and then you stab them a third time. And you can keep stabbing them as long as you can keep pace with them. I prefer, however, Sovereign Armor, but I'll talk about Melting Touch. Consuming a Molten Armor mark reduces the target's armor by 25 for 4 seconds. So, you burn them, then you hit them, then you hit them again, then you hit them again, and every single time you stab them, you are doing 25% more damage after the first stab, which shouldn't take that long, because chances are you've pulled out the entire combo. Let's see how much damage that can do. Burn the Impure, Battle Hunger, Blaze of Glory, Angelic Armaments, Divine Rage, and Melting Touch. So, I don't really need to worry about those right now. I'll just close that window real quick. So, I'll throw that, hit that, dash at you, pop that, and then while they're on fire, they take more damage. So I just dealt 3,000 damage to that guy in about 12 hits in a really short amount of time. Let's do it again. Whap. Whap. Yeah, that's phenomenal. That is a phenomenal amount of damage, but I much prefer Sovereign Armor. Molten Armor grants 50 armor for 2.5 seconds. Essentially, the last 2 hits of Molten Armor do not give you damage mitigation, is how that works. Because it triggers every quarter second. This lasts for 2.5 seconds. On top of healing you for double the health that you would be... Or on top of healing you for the amount of damage that you'd be doing. Doubled for heroes. So 42 health. Lot of health back. On top of being harder to kill for the entire duration. On top of having it on a 6-second cooldown if you're able to keep walking at people. I can only imagine this hero is going to be annoying as hell to play against. Lastly, I would take... I'm still going to take Sovereign Armor. I'm gonna go with Sovereign Armor. So we're going to burn the Impure, Battle Hunger, Blaze of Glory, Angelic Armaments, Divine Rage, Sovereign Armor, and then his level 20 talents all seem to be, to me, like they were stolen from other heroes and repurposed for tanks, specifically. Or rather, this tank, specifically. Like Heavenly Host. Heal nearby allied heroes, gain 1,316 shields for 3 seconds. If the shield lasts its full duration, they will fire a sword at the nearest enemy hero, dealing 307 damage. The same amount of damage as my swords. So as soon as I'm able to fire off some blades, I can give, or all of my allies will also fire a shot that I'm pretty sure is guaranteed to hit. I couldn't tell you. But it might just be a skill shot, but I have no idea. But they fire them automatically from their position at whoever's closest to them, as well as giving them more defense. It's a solid ultimate upgrade. I love it a lot, but it just feels like it was stolen from Lucio, or just a better version of Tyrael's shield. But I did just realize we are one step closer to having a full angel team in Heroes of the Storm, because Imperius is an angel. We've got Imperius, Malthael, Auriel, and Tyrael. I think the last angel that they could possibly introduce is Ethereal? Ethereal? I don't know how to pronounce his name. I've never heard it, and I've only ever seen it written once, so I have no idea. But I do like the idea of Heavenly Host. It allows this durable frontline bruiser to make all of his allies more durable as well. But Unrelenting Descent is just chokeslam people more. Consuming a Valorous brand reduces the cooldown of Wrath of Anguirus by 5 seconds. You can take 15 seconds off of the cooldown of the Chokeslam for just doing what you've been doing all game. An 80-second cooldown means you have to consume 16 marks. I can take 3 off of 1 hero. That is hit 5 people 3 times, or that is hit 5 people with 3 abilities, and then 1 person with 1 ability, and then auto attack them. So that's 6 auto attacks, basically, if you do it right. As well as just being able to walk up on people with your fire, just to keep it going. I can only imagine this hero is going to be very, very annoying to play against. Because that Chokeslam is deadly, and I really appreciate the choices that they've given him. As a warrior player, I appreciate that they've given the aspect of valor a pretty flexible skill set, because he's got one combo, but you can use that combo on anything that you can hit. It really is just fire, impale, burn, and whatever you want to use it on is a fantastic choice. If you want to peel for your allies, you can do it every 10 seconds. If you want to engage the enemy team, guess what? 12 seconds. If you want to not die, 12 seconds. 12-second cooldown on not dying. It's phenomenal. I like his kit. It's just, I think it's going to be too good at what it does, similar to Mal'Ganis. But the other talents that he has at level 20 are Imperius, activate to become unstoppable and gain 75 spell armor for 2 seconds. Hitting heroes with the center of Solarian's flare, or I keep saying flare, it's fire. Solarian's fire reduces this cooldown by 5 seconds. It's just Yrel's Indomitable at level 20 on a longer cooldown, but more aggressive. But instead of giving you unstoppable, it also gives you spell armor reduction, or spell damage reduction. What is Yrel's? I know Yrel has a talent level 20 that just makes her immune to crowd control every 10 seconds, and it's on a 2-second, or it's active for 2 seconds. It has a 10-second cooldown. Is it just called Seraphim? I don't remember what it is. I just know that she has it. Imperius basically has the same thing, but it's on a much longer cooldown. I guess it's closer to a Nullification Shield or a Storm Shield, but Imperius can lower its cooldown. I keep trying to call him Ilarion. And then lastly, he's got Valorous Pursuit. Activate to teleport to an enemy hero that has been marked by Valorous Brand on a 15-second cooldown. You know the thing that Zeratul gets baseline? Yeah. This guy gets it, but he has options to who he wants to jump to. So if you're able to hit an enemy team, let's just mark each one of these guys. And then you can just blink at them. It does have a cast range, but it doesn't tell you how big the cast range is. You kind of have to figure that out for yourself. But we're going to toggle cooldowns. I want to see exactly how far away I can get. So from there to here, basically, I'm pretty sure that's your dash range, isn't it? I'll hit him with that. I was like right here, wasn't I? That's a little bit longer than dash range. But yeah, that's Imperius's. Those are Imperius's talents. I would take Heavenly Host just because I like the idea of angelic armaments. Being more durable as a tank is hardly a bad thing. But I understand the use of Wrath of the Anguirus. If you really don't like somebody, if you want to remove somebody with extreme prejudice and surgical precision, this is the choice for you. Because up until, how do I word this? Once you start the charge, you cannot be stopped. It doesn't go that far, but it does go through walls and terrain. The only problem is you've got a 1-second cast time on it, so you really want to cast it from the cover of darkness. The best place I can think of to cast it from would be on the what's it called there? What is that map? The Raven Court on the Cursed Hollow. From the weird hay bale U-bends at the top and bottom of mid lane. If you want to cast that, if you want to cast Wrath of the Anguirus on somebody, you should probably be in one of those U-bends and see if your team can't force them to get near the sides of it and just chokeslam a bitch back into your team. Just jump out from the darkness and be like, gotcha, bitch, and then drag them back and kill them that way. It's like a more involved version of Garrosh's old Ground Slam or Groundbreaker, because you have to get your team to coordinate with you. But at level 20, I would definitely be taking Heavenly Host because I'm going to be taking Angelic Armaments. I like the idea that I'm playing a tank who is super aggressive but can also make my teammates more durable at level 20. Admittedly, it's only at level 20, but still, it sounds fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what this character is going to be like. Which is not a sentiment I hold very often for Heroes of the Storm, because Blizzard's balance team doesn't exist. They don't know what they're doing. They really don't. The last 8 heroes that they've released in a row, on top of the, like, excluding the hero reworks, they have no fucking clue what they've done and what they're doing, but the last 8 heroes in a row have been more broken than the last. But I'm gonna call this project to a close. For those of you who are new, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to, but if not, then carry on your merry way. But for the rest of you ramblers, I will catch you all next time with another Dex build, which I might be branching out into Warframe if I can think of anything that might be fun or interesting to talk about. Or I might go to Path of Exile, even though I have no idea what I'm doing in Path of Exile. I just know that I've been having a lot of fun with the 2 builds that I've been using recently, which is my Righteous Fire Templar and my Summoner Witch. But I'm going to go. Hope you all enjoyed this. I will see you all next time. If you didn't enjoy it, let me know why, and I'll try and work on it for next episode. I think I can figure it out, but I'll certainly try. But I'm going to go. Hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody. It's been a ton of fun.